Welcome back to the channel. My name is Neeks and I missed you. Today we are going to be talking about what makes a good review because I am really sick and tired and pissed and upset by the lack of range I'm seeing from some of these Goodreads reviewers. First and foremost, let me just state that not everybody needs to be a professional reviewer to be on Goodreads, or to say that they're a book reviewer, or to say that they are breaking down books, or to be a booktuber. No one needs to be a professional. We all read for different reasons. Some people read purely for enjoyment. Some people read as sort of a study sort of situation. We all read for different reasons. And it is because of that I didn't want to make this video initially. I didn't want to sit here and be like, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, this is the blah 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 way, right? But there is a wrong way. There is a wrong way. And there is a way that shows that you have no taste. It's a lack of range, it's a lack of life experience, and it's a lack of empathy that causes people to do this in a public forum where people go to see if they want to buy a book. As I was saying, this disproportionately affects authors of color. We know why. Let's not even get into it. You can go ahead and get into it in the comments. I'm not going to get into a deep dive here in the video, but it disproportionately affects them, and I'm kind of just tired of it. So, that all being said, we are going to dive into the bullshittery and this Goodreads dancery today. So first and foremost, we have to talk about the phenomenon of BIPOC authors being demonized for using conventions and tropes that have been used in certain genres for millennia, centuries, decades, honey. We're going to talk about that. We're going to acknowledge that. Everyone acknowledge it right now. Have we done it? Okay, good. And as stated, everyone reads for a different reason. So when we go through these reviews and we talk about them, I am going to be stating whether or not I think that this is a case of lacking the range, lacking empathy, or if I think this is a case of this person just not being into the genre. Okay, so I think that we're just gonna look at like 3 or 4 books and go straight to the 1 stars and talk about the comments that I'm seeing. So let's start with my most recent fave, which is Legendborn. You can see 2 copies of it behind me on this side somewhere, and yeah, I don't know who would have the gall to rate this 1 star, but we gonna talk about it. If there is a 1 star, we're gonna talk about it. So for me, a lot of the conventions used in Legendborn were masterfully done. Not only were they all within the realm of Arthurian legend, we're seeing things come back, we're seeing new spins on different things from old, Welsh and English Arthurian legend, but Tracy Deonn also spun it into this beautiful tale from like the perspective of a Southern black girl, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh, here's one. Here's the 1 star from RT. This is a typical young adult trope-filled book, the kind that I'm so cynically jaded of. Okay, already, why the fuck are you reading it? If you're not into YA, why are you reading YA? Like, why would you go into a book knowing it's gonna have tropes that fit into the YA category and then still read? Let's go on. The kind that I've read thousands of times, only with different covers, names, and slightly different plots. Already, I bet if I go to this person's Goodreads, they're gonna have 5 stars for other books with the same tropes, and this one was suddenly too much. Why is every young adult heroine an orphan? She's not an orphan, she still has her dad. Why is there always a magic school? It's not a magic school, it's a secret society within a normal school. Why is there always a brooding self-exiled love interest? Because Selwyn and other characters like Selwyn Kane are amazing. Why is there always hidden magic powers and a chosen one plot point? Because it's a convention, it is a trope. That is what happens, okay? Whiny! You may love this book if you love reading the same thing over and over again. This was definitely not for me. So this is the type of review that is bullshit, because I guarantee you that this RD person read 1,000 chosen one stories and then suddenly this one was the one that broke the camel's back. This one. Also, the misinformation. This character is not an orphan. Bree has a dad. The whole thing is about her dealing with the loss of her mother and feeling like she cannot talk to her father. Magic school. It's more of a magic in school. This is not a magic boarding school situation. This is a secret society. This is very Ninth House in that it's secret societies within a normal setting. So I don't know where he's getting that from. Self-exiled. No, Sel's really not self-exiled. He's actually exiled. Well, almost exiled. He's very much brooding though, so I guess that's on point. Hidden magic powers and a chosen one plot point. Yeah, that's 97% of all YA that you will read. So this is a bad review. This is a shitty review. 1 for misinformation, 2 for blatantly stating that this book uses tropes that you would commonly find in YA. So this person obviously either just suddenly stopped liking YA at this specific moment, or they don't actually like YA, so they were ill-equipped to go and read this book anyway and review it. Bye, Artie. There are several other no-worded 1-star reviews. All of those people have no taste, empathy, or class, so we're gonna move on to the next book. Was that mean? I think that was too... You know what book I really liked recently? Cemetery Boys. I loved Cemetery Boys. It really hit me. Oh my god, it hit me so much. For those of you who don't know, Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas is the story of a young man, young trans man, who is just trying to be accepted for who he is. Like, his family denied him his quince, where he would have gotten his portaje, which would have allowed him to do his, you know, brujo duties with the family. But because his family refuses to see him as the boy that he is, he does the ceremony on his own with his cousin, and a whole bunch of hijinks ensues after that. And it's just a really heartwarming story that kind of broke me, because the way that Aiden Thomas illustrates the like small victories that this little trans boy has. Well, I shouldn't say little, he's 16 in the book, but the small victories and the way that they're written out as these huge triumphs really actually made me cry. So yeah, I totally recommend this book. Go to 1 stars, 1-star reviews. Let's see if they're good or bad. Okay, this one's from Brit. Oh, this is really long. Let's just read it through and I'll summarize it. Okay, my issue with this review is that after talking about something that was purposefully put there, aka the sexism, they talk about how there's plot issues and character development issues, which, okay, that's perfectly fine. If that's what you want to harp on, plot issues and character development issues that you feel like were present, that's fine. Those are things that you can talk about in a review. But the issue I have with this review, and it's maybe just me, is I think that Aiden Thomas was trying to make a comment about like machismo culture within the Latinx community and how sexism is prevalent in the Latinx community. I think that was the point. I think sexism was the point, and I don't feel like Aiden Thomas made the women lesser. I think the characters made the women lesser. So that's the issue I have with this review. I definitely don't think this should have been a 1 star if that's what they're harping on, because the sexism was purposefully put there, but that's just me. This maybe could have been a 3 and I would have agreed with it, but it's not. Let's go to another one for this one. Kyle says, I wish kids book wouldn't swear. I wish kids book wouldn't swear. Okay, and then someone responds, this is a YA book, young adult, not a kid's book. It says it in the tags. All right, let's move on to another book. What's like another good book we can read? Fear the Witching. If you guys haven't seen my theme breakdown video, I loved that book. I thought that it was brilliantly written. I thought that it made calls and questioned like the patriarchy and organized religion so well, and in a way that was very even and pretty tasteful, honestly. Anyway, I thought Year of the Witching was beautiful. We're gonna check the 1 stars. There seems to be a couple. Alice Olivia Scarlett says, wow, this was some hot garbage. What the fuck? Okay, let's talk about Claire's comment. Okay? 1 star, a badly written fantasy version of Handmaid's Tale, don't bother. So, all the other books that couldn't be put in the same vein as Handmaid's Tale were okay. Except for this one. This one was too far. Badly written, my ass. The prose in this book, girl, you don't have taste. DNF at 30% from Reka. Skimmed after 20%. This tried to tackle so many things: religion, lack of women's rights, racism, all wrapped up with riches and magic. Yeah, and it did it fucking well, Stephanie. DNF at 32%. Decent until about 90%. Horrid the last 10%, so only 1.5 stars. See, this doesn't make sense. So you got through 90% of the book and disagreed with the last 10%, but gave it 1.5 stars? Okay, if that's what you want. But my entire point for this whole thing was that we need to think about what the fuck we are putting on these sites, because it's sometimes really ridiculous. It's really ridiculous what I am seeing. There, like the one that blatantly said, I don't like kids books and cursing, or whatever it said. I don't like kids cursing in books, right? What do you think your kids are doing at school? Or when they go hang out with their buddies, or whatever. We have to rate things fairly. Know your conventions, know your tropes, know what a genre means when you pick up the book, because that is what you should expect. And if those tropes get subverted, all the better. If those tropes are written into beautiful prose, all the better. But when you pick up a book, you need to automatically know what the genre holds in those conventions and in those tropes. I just get so mad. I'm not even trying to come off as an expert in reviewing. I'm not. But I am very well read in the genres that I read a lot. So fantasy, contemporary fantasy, urban fantasy, sci-fi, you know? I'm getting acquainted with things like gothic horror. I'm getting acquainted with things like romance. I'm getting acquainted with other genres slowly. But you'll notice that even when I write reviews on Goodreads for especially contemporary romance, I'm really just judging it on themes, characterizations, plot, prose, things like that. And that's where I start off. For things like all of these are the books where I can get into it and be like, here's how they subverted this, or here's how they wrote about this trope, and I liked how they expanded upon this idea within the trope in this convention, and blah blah blah. That's where I'm comfortable. That's where I know that I'm eating. Okay, contemporary romance, I'm not eating there yet. I'm picking at my food, trying to figure out what tastes I like. That's what I'm doing there. So a lot of you have been reading the same shit over and over again, and then when you get to an author of color doing the same shit, you want to act like it's too far. That's not okay. So while this video is mainly for shits and giggles, this is also meant to highlight the very real ways that authors of color are targeted for the same conventions and tropes that other people write, for simply existing in the space. So while you can call these asshole reviewers every name in the book, from tasteless to edgeless to classless, like, let's be real, some of these reviews don't help anybody. We did read a couple reviews where it's making points, but still it's still an unfair balance. But yeah, so when you are using Goodreads to try and decide whether you're going to buy a book or not, please do visit that person's profile and see how they rate other books in the same vein. Education is key, kids. I say keep stories like Lobizona and Legendborn coming. I say more Cemetery Boys. I say fill the rivers of royal blood and give me the Queen of Gilded Horns. Yes, we are eating! The easiest way for you to combat these bullshit reviews is for you to review things on Goodreads, on Amazon, on an author's website, wherever you can, because these bullshit reviews are everywhere. They're not just on Goodreads, everywhere. So the easiest way for you to combat it is to go and say your honest to God truth about a book. Taking yourself out, having a lot more empathy, focusing on plot, prose, characterization, pacing, things that the book is actually about, not whether or not you saw yourself in a character or not. It's great when you do, but there are so many other different people in this world, and there's so many colorful varieties of character. You have to learn how to enjoy them. Step outside of yourself for a while. And I'm not saying you have to give an author of color 5 stars automatically. Just give them a fair shot. That's it. That is all anybody is asking you to do. Whether you think so or not, you are an influencer, and your words influence. Give your honest reviews. Do it. I encourage it. But do it with the sense that you are reading outside of yourself. Empathy is key here, along with technical knowledge of conventions and tropes within a genre. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm working on it too. I want to be the best reviewer I can, but I also want to be the best writer I can, which is why I look at things so analytically within books. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!